If the Achilles is making trouble, we need to understand what the heel is doing. Often when the Achilles is grumpy, people are just given either stretching or strengthening exercises or both, but that misses a crucial part of the equation. Here's a deep dive into Achilles anatomy and the two types of Achilles problems that I see most often. The Achilles attaches to the heel bone, called the calcaneus, and then it runs up the back of the lower leg until it merges into the calf. On its way, it crosses the ankle joint, and it's those two, the heel and the ankle, that we need to take a closer look at if we truly want to understand and overcome an issue down there. So let's take a look at what can and should happen at these joints and how that influences tension in the Achilles tendon itself. The calcaneus, the heel, can move in 3 dimensions. It can plantar flex and dorsiflex, it can evert and invert. As part of that, it will also internally or externally rotate together with the talus bone in the ankle. Any of these motions will either lengthen and therefore load, or shorten and therefore offload the Achilles tendon. So you can already go ahead, take a couple of pictures and just roughly get an idea of where your heel is statically. Maybe the back part of your arch is very low to the ground. Maybe you see that the heel is kind of tucked under. And from the back, you might see a bow shape either this way or that way. This can tell you a bit about where you are right now. But what's important is what happens when you move. And that brings me to the 2 most common Achilles issues that I see. The first one is a lack of plantar flexion in the calcaneus, the heel bone. In plantar flexion, the heel rocks forwards, and as you can see, the attachment point of the Achilles moves upwards, relatively speaking. In dorsiflexion of the calcaneus, a tucking under motion if you like, that attachment point is being pulled down. And we do want both of these things to happen, but with a caveat. As I've said in a few videos, we want our foot to be able to pronate and supinate. The 2 motions in the heel are part of these foot shapes. In pronation, our foot acts as a shock absorber and the foot lengthens and spreads. This lengthening movement happens when the heel bone rocks down towards the ground, so when it plantar flexes. In combination with movement in the mid and forefoot, this is in fact how the sole of the foot opens and how we pronate. But importantly, the back of the heel where the Achilles attaches moves up. This is crucial because in this moment of the foot catching our body weight, our ankle bends and dorsiflexes at the same time. You can see how when we bend at the ankle, we of course put length through the calf and the Achilles. However, if that heel is not rocking forwards as discussed, and therefore the Achilles attachment does not come up, you will end up in a scenario where the heel pulls the Achilles down and the ankle dorsiflexion pulls it up. That pull from the top and the bottom at the same time is the most common Achilles issue that I see. What we want to restore here is a foot that pronates with the heel plantar flexing so that we can create more slack at the bottom, which allows a freer lengthening and tensing from the top. If you have a heel that's kind of tucked under, or maybe you even have these little bumps on the back of your heel, then it is worth checking and restoring your heel's ability to plantar flex and therefore the foot's ability to pronate. The second most common problem that I see is a lack of resupination and ankle plantar flexion at push-off. After its pronation movement, which catches our weight, we want the foot to resupinate, where basically everything reverses. Now is the time for the heel to tuck under, as the muscles of the foot start to contract and the foot transforms into a rigid lever that we propel off from. And that propulsion forward is now an opening, a plantar flexion of the ankle, the opposite to what we just discussed. Whereas previously we had the heel rocking forwards and the ankle bending, we now have the heel tucking under and the ankle opening. And therefore, the exchange between the top and the bottom of the Achilles is also present, but in the opposite direction. What often happens, however, is that this ankle and foot combination doesn't fall into place, and people bend at the ankle while they're pushing off, which now loads the Achilles when it should kind of be pulled up towards the belly of the muscle. The ability to supinate as well as to have good toe extension is really crucial here, as the lack of toe extension will lead to a knee bend, which also bends the ankle. We can look into all kinds of different muscles that can be involved in this pain pattern, and also the reasoning behind strengthening a certain muscle. But to start with, let's keep it really simple. Can we do those things? Does the heel have the ability to rock both ways? And can you find a way to get the coupling with the ankle right? Film and watch your foot and ankle and see what is happening. However, you might have to take a look at other elements. Our body moves by sharing motion. Gary Ward calls this the great exchange, which I explain in this video. Basically, it means that if your body cannot do a movement in one place, it will have to do it in excess somewhere else or in a different way. These are things to consider, but first start by understanding the movement of the foot in the context of the movement of the ankle. I hope this helps you understand your Achilles a little bit better, and that maybe it sparked your curiosity to find out what is actually happening down there. If you like this video and you want to learn more about my work or anatomy in motion, hit subscribe and check out my social media channels. See you next time.